Wow. What a day. What a day. Hi again, everyone. I'm James Rapien of allbengals.com. Welcome into Cincinnati Bengals Talk here on YouTube where, day one of the legal tampering period was crazy. And so we're going to recap it. And, if there's other news later tonight or early Tuesday morning, we're going to have you covered, of course. So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and make sure you check out allbengals.com. That's where I fill in the little cracks and crevices of things that I can't get to you here on YouTube in a timely manner. So, it's been a long day. It's been a busy day, and we're going to start with the most recent news, and it's bad news for the Bengals, certainly bad news at least for Bengals fans, because CJ Uzomah, is arguably, outside of Joe Burrow and maybe Jamar Chase, the most liked Cincinnati Bengal, and the 29-year-old headed to New York, headed to the Big Apple. He's going to sign a 3-year, $24 million contract with the New York Jets. Look, not shocked by this for a few reasons. One, Uzomah's coming off of a career year. The league took notice of what he was able to do from a leadership standpoint, as well as be productive with Joe Burrow and help a young quarterback like him. Caught Joe Burrow's first NFL touchdown pass way back in September 2020 against the Cleveland Browns. And then he got injured and Burrow got injured. And, they had a great rapport this season regardless of that. And that's the thing. He's going to make life easier on Zach Wilson. He's going to be a leader. I totally understand why the Jets were interested. But I got to be honest here, ladies and gentlemen. $24 million over the next 3 years, 29-year-old tight end. I'm okay with them from a football standpoint saying, you know what? We can find something else. From a football standpoint, the leadership, the energy, everything that comes with that. From a media standpoint, it really sucks that CJ isn't going to be able to, we're not going to be able to chat with him after games and things like that because, he's honest and he's straight up and he's entertaining and he's energetic and everything that comes with that. But I understand it and I understand where the Bengals are coming from. So from a tight end standpoint, Rob Gronkowski's obviously the guy I talked a lot about. With Tom Brady coming back, just cross him off. You know he's going to stay in Tampa Bay. But there are some other guys, and I wrote down a list here. Gerald Everett of the Seahawks. He was with the Rams during Zach Taylor's time, in Los Angeles. That could be one. There's a common thread there. Athletic tight end. Speaking of athletes, O.J. Howard, former first-round pick in the 2017 NFL Draft. A guy that Marvin Lewis loved. Wouldn't be shocked at all if O.J. Howard finds his way to Cincinnati. Either of those guys could be, suitable replacements for CJ Uzomah at a lesser cost. And I think that's part of it too. Both guys younger, OJ Howard much younger. Robert Tonyan from the Packers, another guy that maybe the Bengals would be interested in. And then you have a young guy that I like. I know my guy Joe Goodberry likes as well, Tyler Conklin. And he's young, athletic, could be coming into his own, could be coming into, his prime years, and that would fit the bill of what the Bengals have been looking for really throughout this free agency process. And I'm going to talk about these other free agents that they've added and everything that's happened today on Monday. Anthony Firkser and Jared Cook, two other names worth mentioning. Cook, obviously much, much older, but if the Bengals are looking for a stopgap, maybe they like some tight ends in the draft as well, but they want a stopgap. Cook could certainly serve as that. But those are some of the names. O.J. Howard to me stands out a lot. I would say Conklin as well and Gerald Everett. Obviously, my go-to would be Gronk, but again, can't happen. Sorry. And, it sucks that we speculated all that time just for Brady to come back. Although I do think, and as we segue here, the Bengals' biggest get of the day was Alex Cappa, the right guard from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Brady coming back, I think that's exactly why the Bengals were able to land Cappa. I think they were going to get priced out of the Ryan Jensen market. Let's say Brady doesn't come back on Sunday and he just stays retired. Ryan Jensen hits the free agent market and the Bengals, they pounce. Well, guess who else was going to pounce? Multiple other teams that wanted to land a big-time center like Ryan Jensen. I think he would have reset the market. I really do. I think he would have gotten $16 million per. And the Bengals, I just don't think they were going to swim in those waters for a 30-year-old center. So if that would have happened and Jensen would have signed elsewhere, then guess what? Cappa would have stayed in Tampa Bay, and they would have given him the bag and kept him in Tampa Bay with that blue water down there in Florida and that great weather. And well, then the Bengals would have had to go elsewhere for their guard. Instead, they get this tough, this physical, really glass eater type presence that Frank Pollock was looking for. That's this guy. Played through a broken arm, which is insane. Tried to play in the playoffs a couple of years ago when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won through a broken leg, which is just ridiculous to me. This dude is extremely tough, and he's been durable. It's, I'm mentioning these issues that he's had. He started every game this past year and has been a stabilizing force and a stabilizing presence for the Buccaneers. So I think that's going to be a huge, huge addition. I think he's coming into his own as a player and ascending, as the Bengals have tried to do, is find ascending players in free agency. And one quick note, Brady, after Jensen agreed to his deal with Tampa Bay, Brady reached out to Cappa, according to Adam Schefter, to try to keep him in Tampa Bay. And Alex Cappa chose Joe Burrow, chose Jamar Chase, chose the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, the money, different. And let's get to the money right now on Cappa's deal, because it's a little different than initially reported. So it's a 4-year deal, $35 million, with 4 $1 million incentives in each of the years that Cappa will receive if he makes a Pro Bowl. Never made a Pro Bowl yet, but if he does, it becomes a 4-year, $39 million deal if he makes the Pro Bowl all 4 years. $9 million signing bonus, $11 million in total guarantees, and the contract worth up to $39 million, like I mentioned. Let's see here. His year one cap hit is around $6.75 million, and that's important, and I'll tell you why in just a second. But yeah, Cappa, to me, great value. I think they did a great job the way they structured this deal so they could make other moves. Speaking of great structure, Ted Karras, the Bengals' new center, and that's what he will play. Just to be clear, the Bengals plan on making him the center, the guy that's going to snap the ball and be directly in front of Joe Burrow. Well, they get him on a 3-year, $18 million deal. And, on the surface, it's like, oh, that's pretty fair, right? You get a guy, a swing center guard combo because he's versatile and he can play left guard or right guard if you need him to. In this case, you have your right guard, so it would be left guard. If you address center, let's say in the draft with Tyler Linderbaum or something like that, where you could always move a guy like Karras. But his contract, it's year to year, as Sports Illustrated's Albert Breer determined. And I think he's going to see at least 2 years of this contract. But he'll get $7 million this year, $4.6 million in that second year of his deal, and then he'll get the rest in year 3, assuming he plays well, which would be $6.4 million. So essentially, to me, I look at it, 3 years, $18 million. It's kind of we're going to give you 7 up front. That 4.6, yeah, you could start for us, or you could be a backup at that number. And then if you are starting and you are playing at a high level, we're going to keep you for that year 3. And he's 29 years old on Tuesday. So good stuff there by the Bengals to keep him. I mean, he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. And so when you can bring someone in like that, that's played with a great like Tom Brady, I said it earlier, you do it. And he's still playing at a really high level. And his best asset, and I've defaulted to this a ton throughout this process as we're going through free agents that could help Joe Burrow. What's that? Who can protect Joe Burrow? Who can be a pass blocker, a quality pass blocker? And Ted Karras has been one of the most consistent center guard combos, certainly, in the NFL. So that's a huge, huge addition for the Bengals. And B.J. Hill was a big addition for the Bengals when they traded for him before the 2021 season started. And he played great. 50 tackles, 5.5 sacks. Well, the Bengals were able to keep him. They didn't keep Larry Ogunjobi, who got 3 years, $40.5 million to go to Chicago. That 1-year deal for Ogunjobi paid off. He took the prove-it deal, and then he gets the big number here from the Bears. But I think the Bengals got the better player in B.J. Hill. I think he's more consistent, better against the run. You're in the AFC North. You're facing teams that are going to run the ball. The Steelers with Mitch Trubisky, well, they sure as hell better not be passing it. They'll run the ball with Najee Harris and company, and so you're going to want to slow down these ground attacks. The Ravens, obviously, we know what they do with Lamar Jackson. We know what the Browns are going to do. Who knows who that quarterback is going to be? Probably Baker Mayfield, but could be someone else. But either way, they have Nick Chubb. As of now, they have Kareem Hunt. the best 1-2 punch from a running back standpoint in the NFL. So you want to slow things down. I think B.J. Hill certainly helps that, but he can also get some interior pass rush. So I like the deal that they were able to give him 3 years, $30 million. To me, value compared to Larry Ogunjobi, $3.5 million per year less. And the thing they did with Hill was $15 million up front this year, $15 million in year one. They front load it and are able to get him on board. So that's a big get for the Bengals. But where do they go from here? Because they've addressed the interior of the offensive line, right? So left to right, you got Jonah Williams. I think you're going to have some kind of combination, and that doesn't mean they don't re-sign Quentin Spain, but some kind of combination of Jackson Carman and a few other guys. Maybe it's a veteran like Spain competing for that left guard spot. At center, you got Ted Karras. Right guard, you got Alex Cappa. What about right tackle? And that's the next thing. So the Lyle Collins thing, as of right now, at 8 o'clock on Monday night, it doesn't sound like he's going to get traded. It feels like it's going to be more of a release situation, and he's free to sign elsewhere. The good news is I talked to Malik Wright of the Right Way Sports Network, and he joined Jake Lisco and myself on the Locked On Bengals podcast. You should check that out and subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. But the thing that Malik said is, Frank loves Lyle Collins. And Lyle Collins reportedly loves Frank. Well, if you have that, and Collins is about to hit the free agent market, and you are familiar with Peter Schaefer, who is Joe Mixon's agent, who's Adam Pac-Man Jones's agent, and you've worked with him before, maybe there's hey, we're interested in Collins at right tackle. So that's one option. But we've spent a lot of time on him. Another one is Daryl Williams, who was released by the Bills on Monday morning. And they did it because they extended their center. They made a couple of moves. They added a guard. They did a couple things. And a guy like Williams, the reason he's intriguing is the Bengals were interested in him last year. And he bounced around for the Bills at right tackle and right guard. But to me, he was one of the best right tackles on the market last year, and he decided to stay in Buffalo. And they want him back at a lower number, and they're trying to finagle the cap and do different things. This is where the Bengals could swoop in and get a guy they like. So Daryl Williams is another guy to watch at right tackle. Trent Brown still out there as well, but there aren't many true right tackles. And I think the Bengals want to keep Jonah Williams at left tackle, so we'll see what happens there. The Bengals obviously looking for a starting cornerback as well. I don't think it's going to be Eli Apple, at least on paper. I think they're going to sign someone bigger than that. Obviously, it wasn't J.C. Jackson. He's off the market. Obviously, it wasn't Carlton Davis. The Buccaneers were able to retain him on a 3-year deal. So it's not those guys, but I think they're going to be in the market for another cornerback like that, a starting level type guy. And then an edge rusher, right? I think they could use another edge presence. And so the Bengals still have needs, including on the offensive line, but they've moved forward. And the Uzomah thing hurts as much of an emotional hurt as anything I think that has happened today from a Bengals standpoint, because it's like, man, that guy, well, he was the energy. And I think the Bengals really wanted to keep him. Everybody I talked to told me that. But there is a price. And he's 29 years old, and he's coming off of a career year. And so I understand it. And so where the Bengals go from here is going to be quite interesting. I always say this. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I do know that we're going to have you covered here morning, noon, night here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. You come for the latest news, the latest commentary. We're going to have it for you. So hit that subscribe button. And then, again, if you're looking for more Bengals stuff, because I get it, you want content this time of year. You want to learn about these players. You want different perspectives. Well, yeah, Cincinnati Bengals Talk is the place to go. But if you're looking for more, allbengals.com is a one-stop shop. Plus, you should check out the Locked On Bengals podcast wherever you get your podcasts. So day one in the books, I think. If not, well, we'll be back. So for Andrew Fox Miller, our channel coordinator, I'm James Rapien, signing off for now after a busy and productive day for the Bengals on day one of the legal tampering period. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'm James Rapien, signing off for now right here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk.